You've done your hair for the podcast this morning, which is not something you always do. What's different? Are you all showered and have you been out in the world already?
Yeah, usually I record the podcast before I've had a shower, but I have had a shower because we're a bit later today. So you just happen to see me after I've had a shower and brushed my hair. I haven't done it for the podcast. I've done it for like life.
I appreciate the effort. That's great. And so do you use a comb or a brush to?
I do use a comb. So it looks combed when it's just been done, but then it won't look combed in 10, 15 minutes. It'll just sort of flop around a bit. But at the moment, it looks a bit combed.
Do you think the generation has passed that carried a permanent comb in their pocket? You know how there's an old man you pull out the comb and flick it through your hair? Do you reckon that's a generational thing?
Yeah, I think that's passed. I think the days of Fonzie doing his hair, with a comb in his leather jacket, has passed. I don't carry a comb with me. Do you carry a comb with you?
No, I haven't seen a comb for years. No,
No.
But I think it used to be standard issue, your wallet and a comb and a pen. That was a kind of thing.
I bet your dad carried a comb.
Definitely comb. Yeah. In his top breast pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a hell of a lot. It was like a filing cabinet up there. He'd have his glasses in there, a pen and a comb.
Yeah. His little black book.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't use that at all, that top pocket, but yeah, that was a big one for my dad, big filing cabinet.
And he was also a big one for the short sleeve shirt, like the collared shirt but with short sleeves.
Oh yeah,
which is also not something you see as much of these days.
No, the Sipowicz look, the Detective Sipowicz from NYPD Blue.
Sipowicz is not what I was thinking of when I was thinking of your dad, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I was thinking more David Attenborough when I think of your dad.
Yeah. Same fashion, but different lifestyle and personality, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, we have something big to talk about, and I think we want to do it up top.
Totally.
It's kind of going to lead to some merch, but I think this is more like an art installation or a major project than merch. It sort of goes beyond that a bit. But to do it, first we have to talk about something we've talked about before on the show, something both you and I love. We'll recap what it is for those who aren't familiar with it, and that is the showbag.
Are there people that don't know what a showbag is? Perhaps if they don't have a show or a fete, but
people outside Australia.
They don't do showbags anywhere else, really?
I don't think. No, it's a pretty uniquely Australian thing, I think, the showbag.
Wow, okay. Oh, right. I didn't appreciate that.
So to set the scene, people, I know we've talked about this before, but we have to quickly do it again so everyone's on the same page. The big cities around Australia, and even some of the country towns, have these annual shows, and they're sort of a combination of like a farm agricultural show, an art and craft type show where people show their wares, who's got the best cow, who's got the best sheep, who's knitted the best blanket and things like that. But it's also a bit of a fun fair, and there'll be rides and, roller coasters and merry-go-rounds, and there's all sorts of entertainment. It's this huge extravaganza that happens once a year. And it's called the Royal Show. So I believe the Royal Adelaide Show, is it still on at the moment, Tim, or is it finished?
It just finished on 2 days ago, 3 days ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Royal Adelaide Show has just happened in Adelaide, the Adelaide version, before it moves on to wherever it goes next. But a big part of it are these things called showbags. They started off in the olden days as sample bags where you would go around and collect little samples from different vendors, but then they evolved into these things called show bags, which is a lot more commercial, and you go into a big hall, sort of auditorium type complex, and there'll be all these stands and stalls selling these plastic bags, these show bags, for different brands. So there'll be a Coca-Cola show bag, a Mars bar show bag, a Barbie show bag, and you pay your money, and in the bag there'll be all sorts of different goodies, bits and pieces, bits of swag or merch. You've just done the showbag haul a few days ago, didn't you, Tim?
Oh yeah, It's a sight to see because it's packed. I mean, it's a massive shed, and
is it still in the Hamilton Hall? It used to always be in the Hamilton Hall at the Wavell Showgrounds in my day. The Hamilton Hall is where you wanted to go. Is it still the Hamilton Hall?
I don't know. I think the showgrounds have changed a fair bit since you've not lived here. There's a lot of big new pavilions and things.
Okay.
Because it's also where there's major exhibitions and, you know what I mean? Like the big caravanning exhibition. So it's a bit more of a new build kind of place rather than ye oldie agricultural
Because just the term Hamilton Hall would stir excitement in me. Because when you were going to Hamilton Hall, you knew you were going to the pavilion where the showbags were. But you weren't. My parents wouldn't take me there till the very end. So you'd walk past it on the way to have to look at the cows and the wood chopping and stuff like that. But all you wanted to do was go to the Hamilton Hall so you could buy your showbags at the end of the day.
For us, the ritual is that we go there last because you've got to carry them around if you buy them first. So generally, it's the thing you buy last and then you head home from there. I mean, let's be honest, like showbags, you know, like I feel weird explaining it because they're just so they're so there, but they're also so international. So I remember as a kid in Traralgon had the country show getting the Knight Rider showbag. So I just assume, I mean, Knight Rider is an American TV show. So obviously all of America would be buying American Knight Rider TV.
I'm sure they're not a big thing, man. I'm sure it's an Australian thing.
Wow.
In fact, if you go onto Wikipedia, let me go onto Wikipedia for a second here, and it says, a showbag is a themed bag of commercial products, novelty items, and promotional merchandise, usually made available for purchase. It is a distinctive feature of Australian agricultural shows,
Wow.
the Australian equivalent of state fairs or travelling carnivals, where they are sold from stalls. They can also be found at exhibitions, festivals, and fundraising events. Showbags are unique to Australia, it says on Wikipedia.
Golly gosh. That's so funny that a whole entity, a whole product is there that's so massively popular with children, but it's nowhere else. I remember using my own money. The first showbag I bought with my own money was the Rambo showbag.
Yep.
Like the film Rambo, this ultraviolet American blockbuster. And there I am in country Victoria buying, you know, like a little bow and arrow and all sorts.
I think when you're young, the toy showbags appeal to you more. I remember getting the Fall Guy showbag.
Oh, yeah,
the Fall Guy TV show. The Knight Rider showbag, of course. As you get older, though, I think you evolve more towards wanting the food and sugary sweets and crisps and drinks type showbags.
Yeah.
Did you move that in that direction?
I did. But then but only into, like I remember getting the iced coffee showbag. I always wanted to know it was a good deal. So, in other words, if I went to the supermarket and pulled all these items together, would I get, if I bought them in the showbag, would it be more cost efficient than buying them separately?
Yeah.
So it feels like you're getting a good deal by getting them all together. I'm not sure that's strictly true anymore, to be honest.
No?
Having been a veteran of the last 10 years of showbags.
Can you give us a little taste of which showbags the Hines went for this year?
Well, to be honest, there was a little bit of we've moved to the teenage stage of not getting a showbag this year. So it was an interesting moment. But the word was that came after pretty careful discerning through the catalogue in the weeks beforehand that there was nothing that was good enough.
No value.
No.
Because, of course, yes, the local newspaper would print the showbag guide a few weeks in advance, which had all the showbags listed and itemised what was in them.
Yeah.
And young kids like me would go through that guide, like, for weeks deciding, listing what your favourite 20 showbags were and taking them to your parents, and your parents saying, well, you're not getting 20 showbags.
Oh, that's
so you'd have
right.
to whittle it down to 10, and then you'd take that to your parents, and your parents would say, well, you're not getting 10 showbags.
No.
Until you finally got it to like maybe the 3 or 4 that you most wanted. But deciding on the value and what you wanted was it was a big job.
And let me tell you, like, no punter on the horse racing form guide spent more time with a pen hovered over, carefully analysing the contents of every bag.
Anyway, I know we've talked about showbags before, people. I think one of our podcast ideas was like your dream showbag, like, what would be in your dream showbag.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, that brings us to the special project we've been working on. And this has come from Tim. Tim wanted to do this. I actually had some reluctance for various reasons, but Tim pushed for it, and it's happened. Tell us about your idea initially, Tim, and then we'll talk about what we've done.
I have to say that this idea didn't originate with me. It originated from one of my daughters. And that shows that certainly showbags were on the mind a few weeks ago. The idea has arisen to have an unmade podcast showbag available for civilians to purchase. And which I thought, that's a genius idea. and immediately launched me into thinking through what things would we put in an Unmade podcast show bag.
So the Unmade podcast show bag is going to be a thing, but I don't think Tim appreciated the amount of work involved, particularly at my end, because I'm the one who would have to do it all. So rather than make this like a mass product, which is just too much work, we're going to make it a very exclusive product. Remember, like, back in the day, there would occasionally be like the really expensive show bag, like the $1,000 show bag, and it would make headlines, and it would have like high-end items in it, like jewelry and stuff like that. It would be like for adults.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all. We didn't have those in Traralgon, I have to say.
No. We've gone high-end. This is going to be a high-end show bag. And I've come up with a bit of an interesting idea around the pricing too, which I'll share with you in a moment. But we're going to make this the ultimate Unmade podcast item. So you have an Unmade podcast bespoke bag, and in it, we're going to have a bit of everything. I'll tell you some of the things that are in it before we come to some very special things that are in it. It will have, of course, the Australian nut leather keyring, an Unmade podcast bespoke metal spoon, a Tim Hein autographed guitar plectrum, the Unmade podcast shopping list notebook, a full, complete set of Spoon of the Week collector cards, the whole set in one box,
Mic drop.
which is nigh impossible to get your hands on. A sofa shop pin, a big rocking horse fridge magnet, which Tim specially went and got a couple of weeks ago and has mailed to me. Some sweet treats, including Minties, of course, fantails, and a sachet of Milo powder to make your very own Milo drink.
Oh, wow.
There will also be a few other bits of merch that I have lying around associated with my other podcasts. I might just toss some of them in the bag just for fun, just to show our love. But the showpiece item, the thing you really want, is going to be a very special Unmade Podcast branded USB stick. And on that USB stick will be some very special media. It will include me doing a Lego build just for you. Each one will be unique. So you will get me building something out of Lego just for you. Even people getting the other show bag won't have the same one. Just for you. And best of all, Tim, tell us what you've been working on.
It's been a dream of mine to one day be able to accurately say to someone, hey, I'm recording an album. And lately I've come as close as I'm ever going to come to that. I've been recording 10 songs, one of which will be in each show bag. Have we said there's 10 yet? Sorry, man. I should go back.
There is. We have now. There are 10. Tim has revealed there will be 10. Tim has recorded 10 songs, singing, playing on guitar, and one of each song will go on each show bag. So if you get one of these show bags, you will have a unique performance that only you can hear of Tim singing and playing. These aren't songs he's written, by the way. They're already famous songs. I've heard a few of them, and they are quite a treat. They
are unique. I will not be including on any of my other albums. These songs, these are special covers that are only for these show bags, never to be repeated.
Yeah. So this is going to be something very special you want to get your hands on. It's impossible to know how to price something like this because it's absolutely priceless. A unique Lego build, a unique song, bits of merch that usually aren't even sold, are only given away under special circumstances. This is I have to say it, a once in a lifetime opportunity, or at least once a year, maybe. I don't know. So, Tim, I've come up with an idea for pricing that I think you will appreciate.
All right.
I want to run a Tim's Dad Was Dutch auction. Do you know what a Dutch auction is?
This is a reverse auction, isn't it? Is that right? You start at a price and move back.
That's right. You start the price high and you drop it continually until people say, all right, I'm in. I'm going to grab it before someone else does. So we're going to have 10 of these. They're going to start with a high price, and I'm regularly going to drop them as a dedication to Tim's dad, who some people may not realise was Dutch. We're going to run a Tim's Dad Was Dutch auction. to offload these show bags.
Hello, hey, Mum.
Oh, look who's walked in.
Mum, hey,
Hi.
come through.
Who is it?
This is, well, you tell me who it is. You come and sit down and you tell me who it is.
We've had an interruption to our show bag news because Tim's mum has arrived at the church.
Take the hearing aid out. That's it. Take the hearing aid out.
Oh, that's Brady.
It's me.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, hi. Hi.
How are you?
Hey, oh, look.
It's me.
Oh.
You can see me. I can see you. How are you?
Hi. I'm good. Yeah, having lots of fun
Yeah.
and busy. Yes. Oh,
What are you doing tonight? Why are you there at Tim's church?
well, we have a prayer night every Wednesday night,
Yeah.
and we pray for the community.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that's every Wednesday night.
Is there anything specific you're going to be praying for tonight?
We've just been praying. We're praying for all these things that are going on in the world at the moment, floods and
Yeah.
earthquakes, and we pray for all those people. And we pray
Yes.
for people in our church that are sick,
Of course.
not well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and pray for one another.
Tim and I were just talking about show bags. Did you buy any show bags at the show this year?
Oh, yes, I did. Better Home. I always get my Better Homes and Garden show bag.
You got the Better Homes and Gardens show bag. What do you get in that show bag?
I always get that one because that's got some goodies in it. You know, really.
What was in it?
things. Oh, lots of things, you know.
Can you remember any?
Lots of brown rice, but lots of sweets and...
Yeah.
And,
Sweets and brown rice. Sounds amazing.
Oh, lots of other things.
Like
No.
it has a magazine in there as well,
Oh,
doesn't it, Mum?
yes.
Of course. The Better Homes and Gardens magazine.
Oh, yeah. Terrific
You
magazine.
can just buy a show bag to have brown rice. Like that's
No, magazines and I'm trying to think now what was in there.
Was there any makeup or anything like beautician related, or is
No, there wasn't anything of that.
it false teeth? Or
So-
hearing aids.
So Mrs. Hein, Tim and I are making our very own show bag for our podcast.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, so there's going to be all sorts of things to do with the podcast in there. So do you think you might be interested in buying that show bag?
What sort of things are going to be in it? One of the mugs?
We haven't talked about a mug. We could do a mug.
I use my mug all the time.
Yes.
Milo
okay.
with Mrs.
What the
Hein.
Milo one? I had a
Yes.
Milo with Mrs. Hein mug.
Yeah, I use that all the time.
We're going to put some Milo in the show bag so people can make their own Milo.
Oh, great. Oh, I'll buy a
Yeah.
show bag. How much are you going to charge?
Well, it's interesting you say that. We're going to sell it using something called a Dutch auction. Do you know what a Dutch auction is? A Dutch auction is when you start with a high price and no one bids, and then you make it go lower and lower and lower until someone says, okay, that's the price I'm willing to pay. So it's sort of like an auction that goes backwards. I thought you might know because it was Dutch.
No, I'm not Dutch. I'm an Aussie. I just learnt.
I know.
From
but
Jerry.
you knew a Dutch guy pretty well.
Ah, yes, and I really miss him.
Yeah.
Do you know what we had the other night at church? When we had the quiz night, we had a silent auction. Did Tim tell you about it?
He told me there was a quiz night. He didn't tell me about the auction.
Oh, yeah, it was great. 2 tables were full of goods that different firms had donated.
Yep.
And an artist donated this beautiful picture of a sunflower with the writing beside "You are my sunshine."
Ah.
And I thought, oh, I'd like to buy that. So I bid.
Yeah.
So it's a silent. So you write your name and how much on a piece of paper.
Yep.
So I bid $40
Yep.
because I had some money that I was given for my birthday because I loved it. I loved sunflower. And then someone else came along and put their name and put 45.
Oh.
And I thought, I really want this picture because it was a local artist that did it. It's beautiful. When you come, you'll see it up my house.
Oh, I know the result of the auction then. Spoilers.
So I put 49 and I got it.
Oh, $49.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it.
It's a
Congratulations.
beautiful picture.
Why did you write 49 and not 50? Why did you go up? Why did you go from 45 to 49?
Well, I don't really know, really. I was thinking of 50. I'm not really sure I put 49. So if he'd bid, I would have put 50, if he...
Yeah.
I would have kept going. So I got it, yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. You'll love my little place.
I can't wait to come and visit you. We'll be there in November and we're going to come and see you.
I know. I was thinking
right.
the other day, I better warn Brady, it's small.
Well, that's okay. I'm not planning to sleep there. I just want to come and have a look.
Brady will probably stay with his family, Mum, so you won't get to spend that much time with him.
Yeah.
All right.
All
right.
right, you can pop in and out, yeah.
Oh, I'll definitely pop in, and I hope you'll come and visit us too at the house we're staying at and come and have lunch with us.
Ah, that'd be wonderful.
Well, thanks for talking to me.
This was a treat. This was special.
It was a treat for everyone.
See
Thank you
ya.
very much.
Bye.
See you soon. All right.
See you soon.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
See ya.
All right. Security.
Bye-bye.
Security, we're going to need some help here.
There you go.
Thanks, Mum.
Wonderful. Bye-bye.
Bye. That was something new. I've never done that before.
Yeah. I need to keep going, recording the podcast. That's what we're doing now, so you need to go. All right.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Mum's walking off singing "You Are My Sunshine."
Before this episode, I put a little message on our Patreon saying, is there anything anyone wants us to talk about? And I was going to bring some of those talking points up later. I still might, although we have a lot less time now. But one of the things that was requested was, can you do a wholesome section? Can you do something wholesome on the podcast? Because we love it when you guys go wholesome. I think we've well and truly delivered.
That's right.
Wonderful.
That's lovely.
And I also think we've pretty much finished talking about the Showbag. So have a look at the links. There'll be links and information available if you want to enter this sort of Dutch auction. We don't have to enter it. You just have to go to the website and wait till it's a price you're happy with.
Watch it. Stand by. When's all this happening, Brady's? Are we all ready to go? I've got to... Yep.
Yeah, we're ready to roll. Hopefully I'll have the link ready with this podcast. So, although I don't know what all Tim's songs are yet, because one of the things I was thinking of doing was, as people bid, as people buy the bags, so there'll be a first person and a second person and a third person, I was thinking of letting those people in that order choose their Tim song. So if you're the first person, you can choose from the 10 songs which one of Tim's songs do you want. And if you're, so the last person has no choice, but as we go down the list, you have more and more choice. So, incentive? I don't know.
Wow. That's a good idea. Yes. So people certainly can avoid songs that they think, oh, heck, no. Best not hear Tim singing that one. No, yes.
Do you want to tell people some of the songs you've recorded so far?
Well, I have to say, there's a couple of... I'll give them two of them. One of them is a classic Bon Jovi song, Wanted Dead or Alive, which is,
I haven't heard that one yet.
No. That's just I just sent that to you before.
Oh,
that's.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with that. There's some tricky little fingering on the guitar with that, and so I've had to bring out my axe playing chops pretty heavily for that one. I also moved into a version of the wonderful song made more famous by Whitney Houston, "I Will Always Love You." And I have to say, that was a vocal challenge. Met and exceeded, I would say. Fantastic recognition.
I'll tell you my one takeaway from listening to the songs, Tim, and that is, you actually are a little bit better at playing the guitar than I thought.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. You notice you didn't mention the singing, but no, that's fair enough.
No, the singing's... I mean, we've all heard your singing. I mean, we can't stop you singing. So, anyway, keep an eye out, people. Showbag.info is a website I'm working on as well if you want to go straight to it if you don't want to go to a link in the description. But keep an eye out for it. It's lots of fun.
Most of the songs are sort of my favourite songs to do. So songs I've played a lot for myself, and now I'm sharing. I was going to say sharing with the world, but I'm not sharing them with the world. I'm sharing them with an individual person. One
person. It's a serenade. It's a virtual serenade.
Yeah. Okay. Let's not push into that idea too much.
And I might share some information later on about what Lego builds I'll be doing as well. They'll be at the smaller end of the spectrum, by the way. They're not going to be like 8-hour builds.
A Lego serenade.
What are we going to do next? Should we do a podcast idea? I'm still recovering from Mrs Hein. Sorry, my head's spinning.
She can be a bit overwhelming.
She hit me with all those prayer bombs. There's nothing that makes you feel like a worse person than hearing what Mrs Hein did with her evening. I'm here trying to flog showbags, and she's been praying for the victims of floods. Here comes my idea for a podcast.
Yeah.
Now, parental advisory warning. The title I've given this podcast, I think is fine, but it's a little bit edgy.
Oh, okay.
So if you've got young ears, I think it's okay, but you might want to skip forward a couple of minutes. We'll see. We'll talk it through.
Well, I tell you, that's got everyone listening. So
yeah, no chance of people skipping now.
This is where we do a hover ad. This is.
So the idea has the name, the working title, which may yet be changed, of Like a Virgin.
Oh, man. We've gone from Auntie Dawn, we've gone from Mrs Hein to Like a Virgin in a matter of minutes. My ears are burning.
Like a Virgin. The idea for this podcast is that it is not sexy in any way, but the idea is that it is recordings of people trying things for the first time.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
So someone riding a bike for the first time in their life, going on a plane for the first time in their life, seeing ballet for the first time in their life. So, and I thought Like a Virgin was quite a clever name for that, because of course that has the meaning. I mean, the business Virgin, Richard Branson's business, was called Virgin because him and his business partner were new at business and didn't know what they were doing. It was their first time, so they called their business Virgin. So I'm going more for that kind of meaning rather than maybe the meaning Madonna was going for.
Very well-known 80s song, but yeah, look, good idea. Whatever the name, good idea.
All right, you could also call it First Timer, something like that. But I just thought I just liked that name. I just thought it was a clever name because it sort of subverted expectations a bit. But
well, and it already exists as such a massive song. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And as I've said before on the Unmade podcast, song titles are always a good idea for podcast titles.
What do you have an example? I mean, you've given us a couple, but something in particular yourself that you think would be the pilot episode?
What's something I haven't done? I've never ridden a penny farthing bicycle, and I've never ridden a tandem bicycle. It was riding bicycles last week that got me thinking about it, because we took our little boy for his first ride on a bicycle. So... But on the back, by the way, he's only 15 months old, so he wasn't riding it. But
no, right?
We had him on a seat. But it did. But they were also hiring out tandem bikes, and as I looked at it, I thought, I've never done that. We should do that in Adelaide, Tim. You and I should hire a tandem bicycle, put the microphones on, and record us in action. Have you ever ridden a tandem bicycle?
I have a feeling that I have, and you'll love this. I'm pretty sure I did it in Holland for some reason. I was only little then, but I'm pretty sure. Maybe I just saw one then for the first time. I'm pretty sure I have. They're more surprise, surprise. There are lots of bikes in Holland, but we could be like the Goodies. You know how the Goodies? There was 3 of them. Yeah,
they did. So I think this would be a fun podcast. Listening to people experiencing things for the first time. Is there anything you haven't done, Tim, that you think we could do a podcast on? What's something you've never done?
I remember you sharing on your podcast a little while ago about going up in a hot air balloon. I've never done that, and I would love to do that, and I often think about that.
Yes, perfect.
You're talking through it, what you feel, what's different, what's perplexing. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I think I've done everything else. I'm not sure.
You've done it all, have you?
That's right.
Flying a plane, swimming. Someone who's never swum before. getting in the water for the first time and trying to swim.
I know there's a YouTube clip that exists where you try coffee for the first time.
Yes, exactly. Another good example. Eating something you've never eaten before, like something exotic, like snails or widgety grubs or something like that.
I think the cleverness of this idea is not to make it too out there. In other words, not doing something that none of us have done for the first time, like climbing Mount Everest.
Yes.
It's got to be something that most of us have done, and yet we're observing someone's unique experience of doing it for the first time, and we can identify.
But we know what it's like already most of the
That's
time,
right.
so we can
Yes.
relate and we can think, oh, I remember what it was like when I did it. And yeah, I think that makes it better, more relatable.
I think so too. So you need to find people that haven't done things that are quite obvious and, common for everyone else.
Driven a car, like find someone who didn't get a driver's license for some reason and just take them to somewhere safe and put them behind a steering wheel and in a car, in a parking lot or something and say, go on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And is it that initial feeling? I remember that moment. I remember getting in a car for the first time and it's moving and going, oh, okay, so you actually have to keep it on the road. I thought the car just sort of followed the road, But you sort of, you have to actually go left, a little bit right. And it's just that initial first feeling. It's a wonderful moment, yeah.
So you reckon winning podcast idea there?
I think that's a solid podcast.
Is the title too edgy?
I think it works. Edgy titles work if you're on safe ground. Yeah.
All right. It's time to mention our sponsor, Hover.
Hover. Here we go. That's right. If you've skipped forward when Brady warned you to, here you are. You've found the right moment.
You've landed right where we want you.
That's right.
Because Hover is the domain registrar company. Go to hover.com/unmade. Have a look at all the domains you can register for your websites or your projects or whatever you're doing, whether it's something you're doing now, whether it's something you're doing in the future. It's a brilliant interface. It's easy to use. Excellent prices. Tim, I registered a domain this morning on Hover. Mm-hmm. They were having a bit of a sale, and for $4.99, less than $5, I registered showbag.info.
Wow.
And I'm going to divert showbag.info to our showbag.
Yes.
So when I'm talking about it, like on the podcast, I can say, hey, showbag.info. I don't have to tell people, go here, go to this, click here, go there, go to our show notes. I can just say an easy, memorable URL, showbag.info, that people can type in and they will land where I want them to land, because it's really easy to divert any URL to wherever you want to divert it. I don't have to make like a whole website about the showbag. I can just divert it to the site I happen to be using to sell it. So
that is a brilliant idea. You know what? If you know how you always want to get the perfect website name or something, but maybe you come up with something and you build your website or you have your site for whatever you want. Then you suddenly think of something even better that's much easier to say or easier to promote and so forth. You can go to Hover and grab that too, and then that just diverts to the other one. It's not like you have to move the whole site. Of course, you move the site too, and that's pretty easily done, but just grab it and divert it straight away.
Yeah.
That is a great reason.
Exactly. So that's one I've got, showbag.info. So if you go to hover.com/unmade, you will get 10% off your first purchase with Hover. The prices are already great. And you can look at all the different URLs, think what you might need, what's going to work for you. Check them out. They're a great supporter of our podcast, but they're also a great service that I use all the time just in my everyday work. Can't recommend them enough. Hover.com/unmade.
There we go. Thank you, Hover.
All right.
Nice work.
This is the part of the podcast where we give away a few freebies and prizes to our Patreon supporters, our stakeholders. Tim's grabbing his guitar as he often does around this time.
Oh, yeah, I won't do that. I was going to do a bit of Wanted, Dead or Alive, but
No. Keep your powder dry.
Yes.
So we are sending one of our leather key rings to Ryan M from Iowa.
Ryan M.
Field of Dreams territory.
Ryan M. Ryan. Okay, nice work.
Show us your keyring, Ryan. All right, we're sending an Unmade Podcast spoon to Greg B from Oklahoma.
Greg B.
I thought you might give us a bit of Garth, something a bit country with Oklahoma.
Oh, right, from Oklahoma. Oh, yeah, well, Garth's from Oklahoma, isn't he?
I actually can't hear the guitar when you play it on Zoom, so I know you're playing it, but I can't hear it, so I don't know what you just played, but I'm sure it was great.
I did. This is who is it? What's his name from Oklahoma?
He's Greg B.
Greg from Oklahoma will know this song from the tune I'm singing, the tune I'm humming. Greg B is a friend in low places.
Nice.
That's
I
it.
saw the surprise in the fear in his eyes.
When I took his glass of champagne, singing,
I toasted you, said, baby, we may be through.
and
You'll never hear me complain.
Doesn't work when you join in because you're slightly out of sync. If we ever record a duet, we're going to have to do it in the same country.
We'll have to organise that. We are sending Unmade Podcast collector cards to another Ryan from America, this time Ryan J from Colorado. It's a big day for Ryans.
It's a huge Ryan day. Nice word. Nice name, Ryan. Yes.
Also, Richard D from Washington State and Mary S from California. So all American, all 5 winners are American today.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations, America. They'll probably have a national holiday or something like that to celebrate. I mean, all 5 from the one nation. Congratulations.
It's a big deal. It's a big moment for America.
Huge.
It's like the Olympics.
They'll probably move the 4th of July to the launch date of this podcast.
So, Tim, I asked the stakeholders about things they'd like us to discuss in this episode, and one of the things they asked was that we have a return of a segment that I haven't done for a little while, and that is...
Moon of the Week. Really? People ask for it? Are you just making that up, or is that...
Someone called Tanya asked for a return of Moon of the Week. And I promise that's not like a burner account I'm using. It was a legitimate request from a real person, I think. So I've ventured through the solar system and found another moon that I thought I would rain you with random trivia about.
Wow, this sounds exciting. And which moon is it that you've chosen?
This moon is Oberon, which is a moon of Uranus or Uranus, depending on how you want to pronounce that and if you want to have a giggle. So Oberon is the outermost of Uranus's 5 major moons. Uranus has lots of moons, but it's got 5 big ones, and this is the one that's furthest out. It's the second biggest of Uranus's moons, and it has a surface area about the same as Australia. The whole surface of the sphere is about the same amount of land as Australia. And to give you some context, because that probably doesn't mean much to you, our moon has about double the surface area of Australia.
Oh, right, okay.
As I said, it's the second biggest of Uranus's moon. It's the 9th biggest moon in the whole solar system by physical size, like by diameter and area. And it's actually the 10th if you do it by how heavy it is, but it's the 9th by size. And again, to give you some context, our moon is the 5th biggest.
Right.
So it's a big moon.
It's a big moon. Yes.
Yep. Named Oberon after the king of the fairies from A Midsummer Night's Dream. There's a lot of Shakespearean names around Uranus.
I was just thinking I thought of that and wondering if that was a little joke in that they've connected it to Uranus. Because, of course, Midsummer Night's Dream also features a character called Bottom. So there's Bottom.
Oh, right.
And there's Oberon. And
no, I don't think that was the thinking, but I like where you went there. It was discovered in 1787 by a very famous astronomer called William Herschel, and for 50 years, William Herschel owned the only telescope you could see it with, the only telescope that was powerful enough to see it.
So how do we know he was telling the truth? Like he's like, I've got a special telescope, I can see this really big moon. No, you can't see it. No, you can't. Look at my, just my telescope.
I think other people were allowed to have a look. I think he let other people look through his telescope from time to time.
Okay.
These days, you could see it with a good backyard telescope if it's dark enough.
Okay, right.
So you can see it as a little dot, a dot going around a slightly bigger dot.
So it wasn't just a dot on the end of his telescope that he put there and then told people, "Oh, that's a really big moon."
No, you're really casting some doubt over William Herschel. He's a pretty respected dude, Yeah.
No, I'm not. He's not won me over yet. No.
I could tell you a few other things, but I can tell I'm already losing your interest. So I'll tell you. It's a rocky, icy moon, like all these moons look. It's slightly red in colour. It's got lots of craters. The biggest is over 200 kilometres across, and that crater is called Hamlet. And it also has craters called Othello, Macbeth, and Romeo. All the craters and mountains and things on this moon are all named after male Shakespearean characters.
Right. So how did Shakespeare get the names if we hadn't discovered that moon yet when he wrote the plays? Now I've got you.
He must have had access to William Herschel's telescope somehow. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah. So I've got a few other facts here, but I might save them for a rainy day. But there are some interesting bits and pieces. It's got an 11-kilometre high peak on it, and that's the 11th highest known peak in the whole solar system on any planet or moon. This great big high point in the middle of a crater. So
that is very big. So Mount Everest is 8 kilometres. Is that right?
Yeah, no, it's higher than Mount Everest. It's higher than anything on Earth, and that's from base to summit. So it's even higher than Mauna Kea in Hawaii, which is taller than Mount Everest if you go from base to top. Although most of that's underwater. So it's even taller than that. So yeah.
Wow.
Oberon was today's moon of the week.
Oberon.
If you ever find yourself at Uranus and you're out distant, out far away from the planet, you can go and visit it. It's actually so far from Uranus, it's outside of its magnetosphere, the magnetic influence of Uranus, which means that the solar wind, all the particles that blow off the sun through space, which are very dangerous, hit this moon. It's not protected because it's not inside this protective magnetic sheath that Uranus has.
So, but it's still in the magnetic pull, though. Like it's not just like
it's in the gravitational.
Away.
It's in the gravitational pull,
right?
But it's not in the magnetic sphere. They're two different things going on there.
Okay.
So obviously it's gravitationally bound to Uranus, but it dips in and out of its sort of protective jacket of magnetism.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, no, thank you. That's Oberon. Perhaps I'll write a song called Oberon in honour of this.
Oh yeah, I like that. I like that. Sounds good. Yeah. Podcast idea from Tim.
Oh yes. Look, I always resist music ideas because I feel like I did a lot of them early and they're easy for me. But then you did a whole run of them and that made me a bit annoyed. And so I've just decided to do one.
Yeah, so, follow your heart.
This idea is simply called The Best Song You've Never Heard. I love discovering a song and being blown away from it because songs are like little miracles in my mind. And to find one and know that no one else knows it, or it's not well known, but it should have been a hit, or it should have been well known by everyone. This is a great song, or this should be covered by Bruce Springsteen or Bob Dylan or someone and made, classic. And so I have some of these songs, and I thought a good podcast idea would be bringing these unknown, obscure songs that are high quality to the world. And to be known and hopefully then to be covered by someone or even just to become famous and in their own right by the original artists.
Are these can these be songs by famous people, but it's just one of their songs that never really became well known, or does the artist have to be obscure as well? No,
I think, a good song is a good song, so it should be totally blind to that fact. However, there are a lot of people that sing and write songs, and every now and then you hear good songs and you never hear them again. Like I've been in a pub seeing a band, not really paying attention. Maybe it's the band on before the band that I was going to see, and it's all pretty generic. And then they play this one song and you look over at the stage and you go, that's good. That's really good. And I don't ever hear them again. I can't remember who they were, but you just go, a good song stands out and it can visit upon someone like that. So I think it's way more interesting to focus on these little gems and nuggets that are out there that are unlikely to be heard, not just that they've been overlooked in a big canon.
I'm with you.
I mean, the other one is interesting too, because it's always good to say, hey, you think you like the hit single from that person, but song number 8 is actually the really great song. You know what I mean? And over time, they prove themselves. That's cool too. I really love that.
Yeah.
So there are many ways in which this podcast could go. The idea is it's about the song in itself, not the image or the person. It's actually, that is a fantastic song.
Give me an example. Give me a song.
Oh, well, the song that prompted this idea is a song called December. And it's by a singer-songwriter called Kim Beals, who's an Australian and is kind of, I do know him, he's a friend of a friend, and I listened to his album once and I was like, oh, this is pleasant. And then this song just jumped out at me and I played it again and again and again and again over the next few days. And I often go back to it. It's on a playlist that I have. It's the most wonderful song.
I found a dream somewhere in the Pacific. Can't be too specific. Somewhere at sea.
Is Kim Beals like famous, like a professional musician, like makes his living as a musician? Or?
No, he's not. He's not. In fact, coincidentally, he's a minister. Like he's an Anglican priest. That's his like day job. And that's not how I know him. I know him through another mate, but he just does a bit of music on the side because he loves it. He does have a couple of albums that he's sort of, recorded and these days they're on Spotify and they're on Apple Music. So you can look this song up, but he's not signed to a record label. Well, I think he's in North Fitzroy Records, like a local, really cool sort of, new record label. But it's all very local and unknown. This has never been on the charts. It's just... He's a guy who's a friend of a friend, and it's like, oh, what a great song.
And I will remember the hope of November, and now it's December. Tomorrow's for you.
It's his best song.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I just love it.
When Tim mentioned this idea to me just before recording, so that I could have a bit of thinking time, I didn't quite grasp the obscure nature of it, so I've gone down a less obscure route, but that's okay. There are no rules here. I chose an interesting song though because at the moment, obviously, I often have reason to listen to music that our little baby, our little 15-month-old will enjoy. And we sort of got sick of nursery rhymes, and we cast around a little bit for musicians we could listen to that made music for children that we would enjoy too.
Oh yeah, good
and
idea.
Someone who was recommended to us by Amanda and Chris, actually, from the Younglings podcast, who joined us a little while ago.
Yeah,
they recommended a friend of theirs who is quite a well-known musician. Actually, he's called Chris Ballou. He's a vocalist and bassist for the Presidents of the United States of America band.
Oh yeah.
But when he's not doing that, he's got a little side project, a big side project, where he does like children's music, and he uses the alias Casper Baby Pants. And he's got all these songs that he writes. They're always little quirky, little nice, cute songs, and we like loads of them, and we play them all the time and sing along, and our son likes them too. Sometimes, like, the album just keeps playing after he's gotten out of the car because I forget to turn the album off. And the songs kept playing, all these little kiddie songs, and suddenly the song started playing that was a bit different to all the others. It's called, what's it called? It's called The Ballad of the Baby Pants, from an album called Easy Breezy, and it's just a cute little simple song about him as a songwriter struggling for ideas, and then he finds these pair of pants and he puts them on his head, and suddenly he gets all this inspiration and writes all these songs.
That powerful pair of pants, when worn upon my head, filled my mind with words and rhymes and chords.
Thinks about how wonderful that was, and then he takes the pants off and hopes someone else will find them and get inspiration too. And it's just a cute little cutesy song. There's no great meaning to it, I don't think. Although maybe it is shedding a bit of a light on the creative process, I don't know. But I just really liked it. I really like it. It charms me. Totally charms me.
I like to imagine that they hop from head to head, and you could be the next to find those magic baby pants.
That's fantastic. That's brilliant. What a wonder. They just stand out, don't they? They just jump out. Marvellous. That makes sense now that you say that he's the lead vocalist of the Presidents of the United States, because even their songs, Twig and Lump and Car, they were all kind of quirky little songs. This is a perfect genre for that guy.
His stuff's really great if you've got a little one, but this song appeals to me just as a song. I asked my wife, by the way, for a contribution. She's a really big Madonna fan, huge Madonna fan. And she suggested a song that I hadn't heard before called Love Song. And it's actually a duet between Madonna and Prince. And I have to say, I don't think very much of it.
Right.
I didn't think it was that great. And I was looking on, I've read that other people don't think it's the greatest piece of music by either of those very successful artists either. But it was a song that I hadn't heard of. The fact that Madonna and Prince even had a duet was news to me.
Yeah.
So she suggested Love Song.
Nice.
Can I hijack your idea and take it somewhere a bit different for a second?
Please.
This made me then look at my 25 most played songs on my playlist on Apple. What are my 25 most played songs? And I wanted to see if there was a song on there that could somehow qualify for this. Was there a song on my most played 25 that I thought some people might not have heard of? Because obviously there's going to be a lot of famous songs on there, typically.
Good idea. Good idea.
So I went to my 25 most played songs, and there was nothing on there that I thought was really obscure. And of course, obscure is a relative term. A song that you think is obscure may be to fans of that artist be their greatest hit, their greatest song, and you may not have heard of it. So the best one I came up with on my list that some people may not have heard of, although it's by a very successful and brilliant singer, is the song At the Bottom of Everything by the band Bright Eyes, which is led by a famous singer called Conor Oberst. And that's a song I really like, and I think it's my fourth most played song. Funnily enough, it's actually about a plane crash in a funny kind of way. But it's a song I like a lot. And I thought it was the song on my top 25 that probably the least people will have heard of. Although I do talk about it on a certain vinyl record I once produced. So
right, okay.
People who bought that record will have heard of it. But yeah.
I'm looking it up. I saw Bright Eyes once when they supported REM, and I was quite struck. I thought, that's a good song, that's a good song, that's a good song. But I didn't really follow up from there to go and listen. But I was really impressed. Yeah.
They've got a lot of really good songs.
Yeah, I should listen to Bright Eyes more.
So call up your top 25, Tim, on your phone if you go into your Apple Music.
You're doing the phone, do you?
If you go into your Apple Music on your phone and go into playlists, your playlist, there'll be an automatically generated playlist of your most listened songs. Hi there everyone, it's Editor Brady here, just intervening to let you know that I'm going to snip out the next 15 to 20 minutes in which Tim and I unsuccessfully tried to find the top 25 songs on Tim's Apple Music. We absolutely cannot find it. It was a cause of much frustration. Alright, well that's enough of that. As I said, I asked our Patreon supporters for things they'd like us to discuss. So I thought maybe we'll do a quick fire. We haven't got much time left, so we'll do a quick fire reading of some of these suggestions and just to get Tim's initial reaction and my initial reaction. Someone called Jesse said, if by magic Tim was granted the ability to play with bravado and precision one epic guitar solo, but could only execute it one time ever, when and how would he use this gift? At a local gig or on stage with his favourite performer, etc.
To do a guitar solo. Well, the solo that I love the most is there's two guitar solos in the song Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd, and the second one is my favourite. And I kind of know the first bit of it, right?
Right. And where are you going to use this one-off magical power to play it perfectly?
On stage with David Gilmour from Pink Floyd at,
Wembley or something.
Yeah. Outdoors at Wembley on a massive stage at the big Pink Floyd reunion where I'm the special guest.
All right. And then Jesse also says, if by that same magic Brady was given the talent of the world's greatest tennis player, but only for one match, how would he use it? I.e. to crush a local tennis legend and get his comeuppance, or to orchestrate a match against an actual professional for the match of a lifetime? I mean, clearly I would use it to win the Wimbledon final.
Wimbledon would be over any, yes, that's the most prestigious.
It's got to be Wimbledon. That's got to be the one. Or I'd save it for my match against Tim in November.
You're going to need it. I would like, by the way, I was thinking the other day in the middle of a match that I need to revise the scores that I gave you.
Really?
I was thinking, I'm a bit of a second set specialist, which is another way of saying I start badly. But I sort of continue badly as well. So I think I said 6375, but it's yes. Anyway,
Since that thrashing I received in the competition at my club, I've now won 17 consecutive sets.
oh wow. Are you getting nervous about playing again in case you?
Oh, no, I want the streak to end because it's kind of getting on my nerves a bit now. Like now I'm caring about winning or losing, and I don't want my tennis to be like that.
No,
so I kind of want to lose one to end the streak. I thought I'd lose last night at men's night at the club, but I had jagged another 3 in a row. I'm on fire. Here we go. Magnus said, "Why is it that men have this deep, almost instinctive appreciation for a good stick? Like whenever we come across a good stick, we have to pick it up and hold it for a little while. Why is that?"
That is a brilliant observation.
I found a stick over in the obviously, the classic stick you want to pick up is one that would make a good walking stick. But I also found a good stick the other day that looked just like a Harry Potter wand. And it was so good I couldn't resist, and I actually brought it home and put it on a shelf because it just looks like a Harry Potter wand.
Well, that gets a bit closer. I think the ultimate is not a good walking stick. It's the ultimate is a good lightsaber. That's the ultimate stick that we're all looking for.
Yeah, love a good stick.
Love a good stick. Yes, brilliant.
And finally, Colonel Katrina, our friend, asked for alternative baby names. She's currently expecting her second child and struggling to come up with a name, particularly for a boy. She said Brady and Tim have been vetoed. I'm sorry, guys.
Golly gosh.
That actually prompted me to ask you, and if this is too personal a question, that's fine. But I wanted to ask you, because you obviously have 2 girls, wonderful, wonderful girls. But if you had a boy, was there a name you were going to use? Was there like a name that wasn't deployed, a boy's name?
Yes, James, my middle name.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't handle another James in my life, so I'm glad that didn't happen. There's
Right.
so many Jameses in my life right now. It's ridiculous.
And we didn't even use it for anything else. It's not ended up with the dog or, fish or anything like that. It's just out there to be used. But it's my middle name, and I like the name.
Is that the one you're going to suggest for Colonel Katrina?
Well, I think if Tim and Brady are vetoed, I think probably James and am I allowed to say John as your middle name?
Yes. John is my middle name.
I think they'll be vetoed too, because if they do use them, then it'll be a bit of too much of a nod to the other person.
Yeah, favouritism.
To one of us for the other person to handle. Yes, that's right.
What about if she uses both? James John or John James?
Oh, well, there we go. That would be fine. Yes. In fact,
Yes.
that's my answer. That's what we recommend.
All right. John James. There you go. And speaking of 2 words...
Nothing. I got nothing.
Did you have any secret words?
No.
No secret words?
Do you know what I did tonight? I deliberately didn't ask because... For the first time ever, in over 100 episodes, I just slipped out of the house and I thought of it and I go, no, I'm not going to ask. I'm just going to leave.
No. All right. Well, today's secret words were John and James.
That's right.